keep the energy up for our next brand challenge. And on the stage, it's going to be Boots. So just a little bit of facts around Boots. Boots has been making medicine for over 160 years. In fact, the discovery of one of the world's most purchased medications happened in their very own research labs. Dr. Stuart Adams, a project leader at Boots, discovered a compound which would alleviate pain for a range of conditions. We all now know it as ibuprofen. It's not just in pharmaceuticals where Boots has created incredible products. You may remember huge queues forming outside your local Boots after number 7 first launched its now famous Protect and Perfect serum. And did you know it sold one every 13 seconds in 2019? It doesn't stop there. They've now launched an online doctor's service for our ever-increasing digital society and will be expanding into supporting mental well-being. So I'd like to now introduce you to our contender, our Marni Allen from Boots.
Hi, everybody. I don't look scary, but I really am. I've done this before with Jeremy as a sort of dragon in his 660 innovation challenges, so no pressure, you guys. But I work for Walgreens Boots Alliance, which is, we use the abbreviation WBA, which I would say is probably the biggest company you've never heard of before. If we break it down to our retail brands, I guarantee you every single one of you has been in one of our stores, possibly even today. So in the US, we're Walgreens, which is the biggest chain drugstore in the US. In the UK, obviously, we're Boots, which you guys know very well from your own high streets. You've probably purchased things for yourselves, your families, for most of your life. And as we heard earlier from the LiveRamp presentation, we have 17 million British consumers who hold our Advantage loyalty cards. So we're a pretty big retailer in the UK. I have the super fun job in the business. I think I actually maybe have the most fun job in WBA to look for really amazing breakthrough innovation and work with startups to bring in fantastic technologies and products to power up our own brands within Walgreens and Boots. So I'm really happy to be here, hearing the pitches from these guys and seeing what kind of partnership we might be able to find that will power up our own brands.
Very cool. So Marni, talk us through the brief. You're interested in solutions that can help to personalize the healthcare journey?
Yeah, so I think personalization may be such a widely used term in innovation and advertising that maybe it's become kind of like wallpaper these days. I feel like everybody talks about personalization. But if you think about why personalization is relevant in health and wellness, each of us is an individual. What matters to us about our own health and wellness is totally individual. So there is 100% relevance in the space that I work in health and wellness for personalization. And as a retailer that has a lot of first-party data, I feel like we're well placed to be able to really win in the space of personalization and really take our customers on a very holistic, curated journey toward good health and wellness outcomes.
Okay. And when it comes to working with startups, what sort of criteria are you applying today?
So I think we're looking for a partner, I heard before, a partner we could work with tomorrow. Like, I know we're 100% also in the danger of being the Goliath that is really scary to work with for the small David startups, and it's big company, small company challenge that we face every day. I think I'd love to find a partner who's super passionate about their platform, offers us something unique and different in the space of personalization, and has something that we can go test, because I'm all about testing and learning and failing forward and figuring out what we can do differently.
Okay, very cool. Well, the way this is going to work is we've got 6 companies. We've taken the brief. We've searched our databases, the companies that are here at MadFest, and then our panel has selected 6 companies that you're going to meet here in the next 60 minutes. They're going to give a 3-minute pitch followed by a 2 minutes Q&A, so it's fast and furious, but hopefully enough time to give you enough information to decide which company you want to move into a 20K pilot.
Great, thanks, Jeremy. I'm looking forward to it.
Very cool. All right, why don't you grab a seat, Marni, and we'll kick off this process with our first company. It all starts with an understanding of consumers. And to talk more about their solution to this, we have Zuko. And from Zuko, here's Alan.
Thank you very much. I have to say I'm unused to going first because we named our company with a Z, so we'd go last, and somehow we flipped it. Hey, here we are. So we are Zuko. So who are we? Firstly, this is me. I'm the managing director. But what do we do? So at our heart, we are a SaaS platform. We've been built to understand user behavior in online forms and checkouts. So basically really get under the skin of how people are interacting with those parts of your sites, understanding when, where, and why people are abandoning your sites, what they're doing, with the ultimate goal of improving conversion rates and customer volumes and customer experience. So obviously, we already have a number of blue chip brands we work for and have had some great results with them. But how do we fit this particular brief? So this is the brief. It's a lot of words. So we honed in on one particular bit. So tools that help us understand the customer needs and customize the products and services we offer to them. How could we do that? There's sort of two ways. So firstly is ensuring a smooth customer experience first. So example here of a Boots pharmacy form, understanding where the friction points are, quantifying the effect of these points on customer conversion, and working to improve the forms to make the experience much smoother. The second area of this is personalization. We've built Zuko to be a very flexible platform. And basically what that enables us to do is to import a lot of different customer segments into Zuko. Obviously, with Boots being a data-rich company, hopefully that would be very useful to them. So things such as traffic source, what products are people buying, what are their demographics, are there any custom segments you can bring in? And so what you can do is track the user behavior by different segments. So what causes different people to drop out? What triggers a cross-sell? What route do they take through a checkout? And basically, this sort of information will give you the insight to enable you to adapt your forms and checkouts, potentially give them a bespoke experience each time. And we've had customers who've done that depending on traffic source. So they provide a different form or checkout experience based on the information and the data that Zuko has provided. So I know we've got 3 minutes. So how might a pilot actually work? We envisage it working 3 stages. First stage is a sort of proof stage, installing the software on the key forms, benchmarking the performance, seeing if there's any particular issues that are causing customer attrition. Then we move into the track and segment. This is where we start the personalization data, bringing that in before moving into a final phase of ongoing segmentation and ongoing optimization, which is underpinned with our Zuko's consultancy and success teams, because obviously we've worked with hundreds of people who across their forms and checkouts. So we have a wealth of experience that we can bring to bear on that. So that is our 3-minute pitch. Are there any questions that anyone would like to ask now?
Perfect. Over to you, Marni.
Okay. Alan, I'm just wondering, this is maybe obvious, but whose data are you using? Are you using our data? Are you using our data plus something else? Where does the data come from?
So at its base, the data comes from, it's installed on the form and checkout. So it's basically tracks the user behavior within the form and checkout. It doesn't track what they enter, for example, what they write in a form, but it just tracks the interactions throughout the form. So where they're interacting, whether they abandon at that point, how long they spend on a particular point. So it's installed on yours, and then it pulls in the data, which then pushes it into the Zuko dashboards.
Great. And we have lots of consumers, luckily, who are repeat customers and who may have had a transaction yesterday, the day before, last week. Is there any way to link transactions over time to know that they abandoned something yesterday, but they bought something last week? Like, is this individual transactions, or is there a way to connect, knowing it through maybe their loyalty card number?
Well, we've built it so you can't link it to a specific individual for data privacy reasons. But what you can do is trigger events, create attributes on customers as they do something within the form or checkout. So if you know that someone's bought product X or dropped out on product X, you trigger an attribute. And then if they come back, you can then see what they're doing.
Great, thank you.
Cool. Very good. Thank you, Alan. All right, so that's where we get our customer insights and understandings of customer behavior from. The next part of the journey is to start to think about how we deliver this in a way that, performance-based marketing. So to tell us more, here's Alex from Adverity. Oh, sorry. Okay. Just.
Hello? Yep, there we go. Hey, so my name's not Alex, it's actually Cameron. But nice to meet you all. I guess today we're going to go on a journey about data personalization based on the brief that we saw. I'll go next. Seems to be a great start. Is it working? No, it's not loaded yet. It's not loaded on the screen yet now. Anyway, I guess whilst we start, nice to meet you and nice to meet you all. Essentially, just to give you a quick high-level overview, Adverity essentially is a marketing intelligence platform that allows organizations to automate the connection, collection, and cleansing of any type of data. So that includes online data sources, such as your Facebooks, your Googles, your Instagrams, your LinkedIns, but also offline channel data sources. So that could include your CRM data, data from your loyalty program. And essentially, the idea of Adverity is it essentially uses your data and brings it all together holistically so that any type of stakeholder within the business, be it a marketing team, e-commerce, and anyone else, has the ability to really understand what's actually going on throughout the whole process. So for instance, if you want to personalize your data, you can see, if we pull in CRM data as an example, you can see what an individual is potentially using. He or she may be purchasing X products quite often. You can use that and link it to the sales generated as well as the marketing data, the campaigns that you're pushing out, and actually track to see what that looks like. Typically, what tends to happen is all of this is very siloed. So what Adverity really does is bring it all together and give you the ability to understand really what is going on at all times. It would be great to have a deck here so I can actually show you what's going on, but it still hasn't popped up yet. But that's essentially one aspect of it. But we don't stop there. What we actually do is we take it one step further. So yes, you can create insights and really understand what's going on, but we've got an additional module which is essentially more to do with augmented analytics. And to really personalize your data, you really not only need to understand what's important to you, but understand potentially what customers are actually doing without knowing what's going on. So more of a proactive approach rather than a reactive. So what we do here is we give you the ability to look at areas that potentially you're not looking at. So you might focus on set KPIs. We will show you other areas such as budget optimization or areas that perhaps you need to be targeting more. So for instance, females in the 18 to 25-year category are maybe not interacting or engaging as much on one campaign compared to the other geography that you've pushed this campaign out to. So this can give you the ability to, I can see it's come up screen now, so it might work. Nope. Nope. Oh, we are here. Okay, perfect. So this was the Boots pitch. This is actually what Adverity really looks like. So out-of-the-box connectivities, 600 different data sources, doesn't matter what it is, we can pull all data through. We go through a cleansing process, essentially, of what that looks like, and then we push the data out to wherever you want. Any dashboard, any database, any data lake, whatever you want, Tableau, et cetera, et cetera. That essentially becomes your single source of truth. That's where anyone and everyone can actually really understand what is going on with your data, and they can decide essentially what to do next. It's a simple plug-and-play model, so there doesn't need to be any mass installations, plug and play, and you essentially go from there onwards. This then gives you the ability to actually understand what that customer centricity looks like. Work with all your teams to really retarget your customers and take it from there. One part I did want to touch upon is essentially segment analysis. So this is great when it comes to you doing a mass campaign. giving you the ability to see who is interacting, who isn't. As I mentioned, the age range of a particular person, you can retarget them directly within the platform via the relevant channels that you're potentially interested in. And the advantages of all of this is essentially you will uncover deeper insights that perhaps you weren't looking at. The platform itself is working on your own data. So we use machine learning to work on not only your current data, but also your historical data, and actually see what trends are occurring that perhaps isn't privy to the naked eye. And then from there, you can start being more and more proactive, and you ultimately decide what you want to do next. I don't want to show the next slide because it's the wrong presentation, but if you ignore this face, these are the people that we work with across the globe. My name's actually Cameron, and we are Adverity. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thanks, Cameron. Sorry about those technical issues. Let's jump in with some questions.
Thanks, Cameron. Great job rolling with the punches. So fantastic. I love that your platform is really customer-centric and breaks down silos, because I feel like most businesses have silos. Ours has a lot. What are some of the kinds of business decisions that clients of yours use your data visualization platform to be able to make?
So honestly, it depends on the actual customer's requirements and what their use case is. So if an organization really wants to understand more about each individual, a lot of the time we would be working with our customers to understand what's going on with their CRM side and how are they linking it side by side with their marketing efforts. In terms of presenting the insights, we will work backwards to see what is the actual goal the individual or the organization actually wants to achieve in one team, and then operate that across others, but also share concepts where our consultants will basically advise on what would make sense for you to potentially be operating on. So it's a weird way of basically saying it's based on, we need to work together and actually just speak and see what is it your goals are, and then align accordingly.
That's great. And it sounds like, so in the previous pitch, we heard a little bit about not being able to identify individuals because of data privacy. Are you guys able to, do you have the same issue, or are we able to see kind of a single view of a customer with data about them from lots of different sources?
Yeah, so whatever data, ultimately we're a facilitator of data. So whatever data exists, we can work with it and essentially allow you to understand what is possible and what isn't. We are fully GDPR compliant and ISO certified and all of that, but very simply, yes, if the data exists, we can do anything. So yeah.
That's great. So we have. I'm not going to ask you another question.
No, please.
I think because we have so much first-party data through our loyalty cards, we have 17 million British consumers in our Advantage program. It sounds like we could probably get a richer single view of customer, which is an area that we're really interested in.
Yeah, and one other thing. One of our customers, there was sensitive data, so we can actually encrypt data as well. So even if you're sending us data that we shouldn't be seeing, we can actually, before even pulling it through, we can encrypt all of the data so that you essentially just see it as age range or gender or device types. And this really allows you to personalize how you retarget them or anyone else moving forward. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much, Cam.
No problem at all. Love to speak with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Well done. Nice. All right, so we're starting to understand the consumer behavior. We're starting to identify and serve them up from a performance marketing perspective. But how do we make sure that we're serving up ads that are in context? Right time, right person, right need state. Well, a company that is solving that is Seedtag. And from Seedtag, we've got Dan.
Thank you. So I press the green one. Hi there. Hi, everyone. So I've just going to take you through Seedtag Labs, which is our data-driven approach to contextual advertising and creativity, which the aim is to provide brands with a unique competitive advantage in a privacy-first and cookieless future. So privacy is now paramount in the marketplace, and what we're finding is this is aiding the growth and strength of the walled gardens. However, 75% of the market remains open. So there's still massive opportunities for brands if they employ the right approach. However, there are fundamental challenges within the marketplace. The fight for attention, as well as brand safety being extremely critical. And one of the ways we feel we can overcome that challenge is by delivering relevant messages integrated within content that aligns with consumers' interests. So Seedtag Labs is our approach to help brands understand all the millions of pieces of content that are produced every single day. And from that information, we can give an understanding, identifying the content that is relating to consumers and serving advertising messages in relevant content. So I wanted to share an example of some of the work we've been doing with GSK, so obviously a partner in the healthcare space, and we designed a contextual strategy aligning their healthcare messages to appropriate content. So they come to us with a brief for Voltarol, and the aim was to strengthen the brand's positioning and to demonstrate the fact that they can support a healthy lifestyle whilst also pushing across that they are the #1 product for pain relief. So I want to take you on a journey just into our technology. So our technology scans over 10,000 editorial pieces of content every minute. That data is captured and collected in, this is an illustration of the database that it's collected within. Each of these circles represents an individual piece of content, and the size of the circle is the traffic driven towards it. And as you can see, they're naturally clustered into different context categories, which are depicted in the different colours. And a bit geeky, but if you drill into this data and look into the dashboard, it's really interesting to find that you can actually find correlation and synergy between content categories and individual pieces of content that you perhaps wouldn't think existed, and vice versa. So the first step for us to defining the content strategy for Voltarol is we have to extract information from their webpage, so taking around key information. And from this, we're able to start building the initial seed, the initial territory to build out the content strategy. So in the eyes, it's the best way to explain it is Voltarol's own content universe and network related to their core values. And from this process, we take that initial seed, that initial territory, and expand it out, exploring content, the wider content universe, looking for content that's similar correlation, also communicating similar values. And at that stage, we then have the overall strategy lined out, and we can identify content. We identified content sitting across family and parenting, health, lifestyle, and sports content verticals. And I thought just drilling down into the actual details, the initial territory, looking at the core values that they want to represent, we found word associations around movement, and around energy, and around freedom. When we expanded this out and looked into lifestyle categories, we found relatable content, stay active, be active. And then within sports, around flexibility, strength, and fitness. And from this, we're able to take this data, understand different relevant categories and contexts, and then give recommendations into creative optimizations we can make to make sure messages are landing in relevant content and relevant to the consumer. And from this, once the contextual strategy is in place, we then ensure that the creative we deploy on article pages is related to the content that's sitting within. And key trends and dates are analysed to ensure the messages are delivered in relevant contexts, relevant times, and relevant moments to the consumers. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Dan. So it's great that you used a healthcare example because we're all familiar with GSK and the Voltarol brand. Do you have any ideas, any even seedlings of an idea of what we might be able to do at Boots, to reach pain consumers or, any of our, relevant healthcare categories? Do you have any beginnings of an idea of what you want to do with us?
So as we were saying there, so we work with GSK actually across 9 markets, and we deliver these sort of campaigns on a regular basis across their portfolio of products. The idea would be to sit down with you and understand what your business challenges are, what your objectives are, and then build out the strategy from there. As we saw there, what tends to happen is we take information, we extract information from your web page, look at the values you're trying to perceive or the perceptions you're trying to change your perception of a certain product and placement, and then it's then built out from that initial territory. And then obviously exploring, we've got an in-house design team that build the creatives that overlay on the content, is then working with you and your creative team to produce those creatives and to make sure they're sitting in the relevant content. But in terms of an idea, obviously, these sorts of categories, this is real-time data, so this is updated, as you say, every minute. So the content universe will change, different content within our network, so no strategy is the same. No placement will be delivered in the same environment.
Okay, thank you. My Consumer Insights Director is here, and I know she would shoot me if I didn't ask a question about Consumer Insights. So I know there's a lot of insight you can glean from the data that we are able to provide you. Is there also a role for the rest of the battery of data that we might have about our consumers from market research studies? Do you guys engage with the insights teams at your client to understand what else they know in the space like pain?
So that's part of the process, is our data analyst will sit down with your team and work with your data analyst to go through that data. What's interesting for us is obviously with the way the future's going and privacy first, the way you're going to be able to collect audience data is going to be very difficult. We don't collect data, it's all passed through, and everything is based on the articles and the editorial content. So it's actually just capturing people as they're reading that content. And if you're reading a piece of content, naturally you'd assume they've got some interest in it. So that's then how we can build out understanding around an audience. Then you can take in messages around time of day, the type of publishers they're on, the type of content they're reading. So we can look at trend analysis based around shopping habits and then how that leads into doing different events throughout the day. Sorry, it's a long way of saying we will work with you to do it.
Great, fantastic, thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Well done. Cheers. All right, that's 3 down, 3 to go. We're now going to turn our attention to influencers. And obviously, when it comes to personalized healthcare, influencers can really help to turbocharge that message. So to kick us off, we've got Robbie from B.U.M.P. Robbie, over to you.
Hey, hello, check, check. Hi, everyone. How you doing? Good. I want to start by asking everyone a question. Has anyone seen or read Mallory Blackman's Noughts or Crosses? Hands up. You haven't seen it? Okay, for those who have seen it, and for those who haven't, I'll give you a quick explanation. So it's a role reversal where Africa had colonized Europe, and there's a moment in this beautiful story where a young person of my color is unable to find a plaster of his skin color. The book was written 20 years ago, and it's taken 20 years for a brand to come out of a product to fix this issue. This could have been fixed 20 years ago with a form of social listening. All of my team are here today. Lift your hands up, guys, say hi. We've got a unique staffing proposition. All of our staff are 18 to 25, formerly on universal credit. So we champion underrepresented peoples. And we're social first. So when it comes to campaigns like this, we propose to inspect your social media and propose brand new solutions and new products, which will completely take the market by surprise. The campaign from Tesco did take the market by surprise, and it was a form of great social listening. Now, a quick background to us before we go back to the importance of what Mallory wrote about 20 years ago. So we started as a music sharing community. We've got 150,000 Gen Z and millennial members. So, and we're really tapped in with them. They are music driven and culture first. So when it comes to working with the Boots, I think there's something I'll touch on very soon, which is about the travel market. Our audience go to 4 times more music festivals abroad than the national average. So they're big spenders and they want to travel. So when it comes to Boots' airports, I think there's a big opportunity there. Cool. So we started in 2015. We grew to 150,000 members, and today we offer research, insight, and strategy with our community. So as mentioned, we think that Boots should collaborate with culture in real time. Today, we want to provide social listening and engagement. We want to elevate your customers' ideas and create products on the fly. In the context of lockdown easing, we've got gigs opening up in the States, gigs opening up in Australia already. We can see that people are traveling and willing to go to new experiences. There's a travel renaissance. A quick insight into our community members. So we're heavily UK focused with just under 60,000 members. We're mostly based in metropolitan cities around the UK. Our audience are really active. Over half of them use our platform every single day. And over 3/4 of them are aged between 18 and 24. As mentioned, they're gig goers, they go out to festivals, they travel abroad, they're big spenders, they'll be going to Boots' airport sites. Here's a quick case study from Pioneer DJ, one of our clients. So they came to us as a consumer brand looking to enter the market away from a DJ focus and more into a more consumer-wider appeal. So they workshopped with some quantitative and qualitative analysis with our audience a brand new product. We then worked with the influencers within our community on TikTok and Instagram to release this to their wider audience. Cool. So some nice things that people have said about us. We're changing the way people use the internet, and we're an organic human hive mind. So that's really what we're proposing to work with Boots and anyone else today. Here's some of the brands we've worked with before. And a quick summary. So we've got lockdown easing. We want you to leverage our active community of Gen Z and millennials and co-create reactive products on the fly. So yeah, and I'll leave you with a question. When are we going to listen to our customers to co-create products? Thank you.
Thanks, Robbie. I love your diversity focus and your really young team. That's fantastic. Because you may or may not have guessed by imagining who shops in Boots. A lot of our consumers are older than your team and the people in your community.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, have you ever worked with health and wellness brands before? What matters to Gen Z in the space of health and wellness? Where should we tap in?
I think the key focus and the area where our community can specialize in is the focus on going abroad and at your airport sites. So when young people are traveling to music festivals or they're going away to get an Airbnb for the weekends, really focusing in and tapping in on what they need for that weekend experience. We're not claiming to be accessing to an older audience that we're not. We're going to offer a targeted campaign around young people and what they can do around that special moment at the airport when they've forgotten everything and they need to buy everything before going to security.
Yeah, that's great. I actually really like the focus of your young community because I think our brand as Boots is definitely already pretty entrenched with, probably their parents.
Yeah.
So if you were to imagine the journey that somebody's on as they're, packing up, ready to go to one of these experiences abroad, is anything going on in their mind in the space of health? Like, are they actually thinking health and wellness, or are they really just thinking drinking and dancing late into the night and possibly crashing in a sleeping bag? I'm just wondering where we can have some utility for them.
I think there's lots of things. I think younger audiences are more health conscious nowadays. We drink less alcohol. And I think by working with people on products like sun cream, it's a great market. Mad Dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun. I think we're the worst for it, us Brits. So yeah, I think products around going abroad, intimacy products as well, and education around those pieces could be beneficial.
That's great. Thank you so much, Robbie.
Cool. Thanks.
Thank you, Robbie. All right, we're going into our final two now, staying on the theme of influencers, but looking at how influencers can be integrated into the buying journey. Here's Knexus, and please welcome Graham.
Good afternoon. Okay, so I'm going to talk briefly about the potential to unleash Boots content. quick look at the fantastic content that you generate as a brand. Lots of educational articles in your health hub, from infant and child health to going back on its own, to mental health. You've got Instagram posts from the brand itself, from influencers, hundreds of YouTube videos on everything from skincare tutorials, how-to videos, and product reviews. The gap, I guess, for Boots is that you need to help your consumers to benefit from the most relevant content for them at the right time in their online journey that they're having with Boots. And if you can do that effectively, you can increase their customer engagement, their satisfaction, and ultimately also sell more in terms of e-commerce. There's a few stats at the bottom that are from live brands actually taken in the consumer health space that give you a sense across things like sales and conversion, engagement, and customer satisfaction with CSAT score, the sort of uplift that you could be achieving. So how do we go about doing that? Where can Knexus help you? How can you cater to consumer healthcare needs? We're suggesting 4 things here. I'll just run through them very briefly with you. So the first is surface your content at the right moment. Don't make consumers search for support and validation, which, without meaning to be critical, they kind of have to do with your brand today. Personalize that content so it's going to support the individual health and well-being needs. Make it shoppable so you create a seamless transition from that added value content into the most relevant customized products and services. And finally, generate advanced consumer insights so you deepen your understanding of the relationship between content and both consumer satisfaction and sales. Where does Knexus platform fit into enabling you to do that? The platform essentially will give you a fully automated and completely scalable approach. I think scalability for Boots is a big need, just given the complexity of the business. So what does that mean specifically? I'll briefly run you through some of the key things that Knexus platform will enable you to do. So first off, the platform will constantly search and index all the different sources of content that can help the health and well-being of each individual consumer for Boots. It will look at that content and tag it automatically through AI. And then it will dynamically match each consumer in their journey with Boots to the most relevant content that can help them depending on their stage of the journey. And off the back of that content, we'll then automatically look at the products and services that align with that content to make it easy for that consumer to, having appreciated the content, find the solution that they need. Finally, at the back end, the platform will give you analytics and data that can help you both better understand the behavior of the consumer, but also what content helps in those journeys and create a better experience. What does the ROI look like off the back of that? We've taken Knexus works very heavily in the consumer health space, so we've taken some data points from other consumer health brands. 4 key areas that we would focus on. 1, content CTR from an engagement perspective, potentially your CSAT score, your bounce rate, and ultimately lifting your e-commerce sales. So in summary, if we look at your brief and just try and align what we've talked about with some of the needs that you've articulated, this approach will deliver more personalized healthcare for your consumers. It'll create a better understanding for your brand of consumer needs, as well as customized products and services across the e-commerce journey for every shopper. Thank you.
Thank you, Graham. I think it's very obvious to me how this could be really relevant for us. So thinking a little more laterally to some of the things that I work on, in the space of innovation, often the things that my team are looking at come at price points that our retail partners are a little bit scared about. And so I get pushback that, a Boots customer is going to be loath to spend upwards of whatever, the threshold is. I'm just wondering, given, the kind of augmented experience and the kind of customized journey that you guys can take somebody on, have you had experience in that generating willingness to buy at sort of higher price points because they're sort of, the whole experience leads them to something that seems like it will really meet their needs more effectively?
Absolutely. I mean, the focus of the platform and what we're doing is to help exactly those types of behaviors.
And do consumers have a chance to kind of curate for themselves where the journey is going? So is this sort of just we're kind of watching the behavior that they already have and kind of letting it happen and then, you know, interjecting along the way? Or how much control do they have versus how much control do we have about how this pans out?
Well, at the core, the machine learning that drives the platform is learning on two fronts. It's learning about the consumer in terms of their profile, needs, and intent. And it's also learning about the content. So what kind of content helps in particular journeys or with particular customers or outcomes that you're looking to drive. And through that, improves the understanding. So I would say the consumer in their actions is kind of curating their own experience, and that's how the platform learns.
Thank you. It's really interesting. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Ryan. All right, we're down to the lucky last, and to finish off the 6 pitches for Boots, we're going to be looking at how you can turn brand fans into influencers. So from the room, here's Steve.
Hello everyone, great to be here. So over at the room, our fundamental mission is to enable consumer brands and agencies and their advocates to be rewarded for being true to themselves. The problem that we've identified is that there is just a lack of authenticity out there. Brands are having to buy influence, and influencers are having to sell themselves to brands. The experience and the transaction obviously costs money, and it's very unrewarding for both parties. If you look at the content that's created in paid media versus authentic media and gifting, quite often who you think loves your brand is not actually the end user or who's viewing the content. It appears quite narrow, engineered, it's questionable, whereby if you look at authentic content and true brand love, it's diverse, it's credible, and it's really, really authentic. So the solution is advocacy-generated content. It's essentially unpaid, cross-channel media, which is created by genuine lovers of brands, products, or experiences. The content itself benefits from a combination of the actual assets generated, the audience it reaches, and most importantly, true authenticity. It's more engaging, it's more authentic, the return on investment is far greater than industry averages, it drives brand love, and the content is in a higher volume and authentic. So at the room, we enable established brands to find and engage with the people who already love them, and rising brands to find people who will grow to love them. We're an online marketplace that facilitates an exchange of kind, not currency, between brands and their advocates. So we're disrupting the traditional communications category, and most notably influencer marketing. Fairly punchy, but we want to have the same impact on paid media as Just Eat did in moving takeaway online, Uber moving transport online, Airbnb monetizing your sofa at home, and Treatwell allowing you to book hair and beauty online. We want to allow brands to earn media versus pay for media. We allow those who love, need, or want your brand to talk about you in their own authentic voice, and the result is more content, greater authenticity, and obviously increased cut-through. So a few things that make us different. Obviously, no money changes hands, so it's a cost saving straight away. Authentic content, which is delivered with higher engagement, and the impact that this has on the business is obviously a far greater return on investment. Advocacy is the new advertising. And a couple of snapshots which just bring to life the earned media value versus reach, and the volume of content with the influential people that come forward. So as you can see, it's really, really powerful. the content that is generated is authentic, it's not scripted, and it's not driven by briefs. So what can we do for Boots? We use our platform and technology to deliver fast and agile messaging, mass audience reach, tailored healthcare messaging from healthcare advocates and influential people who want to talk about innovation, hyperlocal store awareness, and ultimately enabling you to talk to more people, more often, and in more channels via the room. I'll leave you with a final quote, which is really, really relevant. Forget the dropped eye, but it was really interesting to see that through using the room, how many different areas and segments we can immediately tap into and identify who, through hand raisers, are our true brand advocates. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Steve. I was interested in knowing, there are lots of agencies that do influencer marketing, and obviously you guys have a really strong focus on authenticity. Can you tell me, what do you think really sets the room apart from other companies that are working with influencers? How does your approach different, I guess I mean?
Our approach, so when we work on a campaign brief, we automatically know that when it is live on the platform, those who come forward based on our business model are influential people with highly engaged audiences who look up to their content, what they're saying, and more importantly, they want to work with you because they love your brand, they love the story that you're telling, they love the product, the solution, the service, and as such, they talk about that for free, and that obviously benefits their engagement rates because it's not paid media, so more people listen to what they're saying, and it's a mutually beneficial relationship for both.
Great. And one thing that I can sort of talk about is, we've got 17 million Advantage card holders for Boots. I think something like 85% of them are women, so our own channels are heavily female focused. If we wanted to reach men and use influencers to do it, is that something that you guys would be able to help us to do?
Yeah, absolutely. So our acquisition strategy directly marries supply and demand. We work with a lot of male-only brands as well, which works as a really smart, efficient, and fast acquisition tool for influential men to come onto the platform. So if specifically you want to target that cohort of people, all we need is a brief and a campaign of who you want to speak to, what you want to say, and we allow the technology on the platform to bring those people forward.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Cool.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. There we go. 6 companies. We're going to give Marni a couple of minutes to go away, digest what she's seen, and then come back and announce the 20K paid pilot. All right, I think we're ready to go. So, without any further ado, let's bring back Marni and let's talk through what we've seen. So, Marni, you've seen 6 companies. Let's talk through them one by one. So we kicked off the journey with Zuko.
Thanks,
looking
Jeremy.
at their approach to customer behavior.
So I will refer to my notes, because as you have seen, these guys have done a great job of presenting a diverse range of innovation and really interesting propositions that could help us. So I want to make sure I get everybody's names right as well. So Alan, thank you so much for presenting Zuko. I think what was really exciting to me about what you shared is the real consumer focus, the desire to improve the journeys and create this sort of friction-free experience. Opportunity to cross-sell based on what we're seeing about what a specific consumer is interested in, and really helping us drive and increase conversion. So thank you for sharing us what Zuko can do.
And then we looked at Adverity.
So Cam, awesome job, no technology, fantastic presentation, just speaking from the heart about what you guys do. So I think that's my first piece of feedback. I really, I often talk about how we're too siloed, so I really like your ability to bring our data together in a more holistic way and eliminate silos between, data that sales or marketing might be looking at individually. So I think that's a fantastic capability. The real proactive approach, the consumer centricity, the deep insights, and really helping us get a better understanding of each individual consumer. So thank you.
Cool. And then we had Seedtag as well, and their approach to contextual advertising.
Dan, thank you very much for talking about what Seedtag can do. Obviously, privacy is hugely important now and is only going to get more important, and consumers want to know that we're respecting their privacy. It seems like your platform is really aligned to delivering what's in a consumer's interest, what they're interested in. So it really feels like we're generating a value-add relationship with them. So thank you very much for presenting Seedtag.
And then we looked at influencers, starting with B.U.M.P.
So B.U.M.P, Robbie, thank you so much for presenting. I love the age of your team. I love the passion of your team, the real desire to serve underserved groups and be very diverse in your approach. Your Band-Aid, your plaster example is a great indication of your beliefs and the real purpose of your company. So I think that really shines through. For us, reaching Gen Z, who are very health conscious and are going to grow up to be the customers of the future for us, is really critical. And reaching them at a point, in their lives when the thing they want to do right now is go travel, go have experiences. They will evolve into parents and age with us. So being able to kind of get into the journey with them right now around what's relevant to them and then grow with them feels like a really good opportunity that you guys could offer through your influencer marketing.
Cool. And then we looked at Knexus and their idea for converting influencers from
So
e-commerce.
Graham, my main feedback to you is thank you for all it. I know that you did a lot of homework before you came up and presented. I know you spent a lot of time reading our content, so your preparation shone through. So thank you for having a look and also being honest with us, because sometimes partners approach us and they're a little afraid to say, "Gee, you're not really good at X right now and we can help you." So thank you for being really honest, because there are a lot of areas where we can improve. I was really interested in how we can help consumers really navigate to the most relevant solutions for them and also help them sort of upgrade in terms of our offering in an authentic way. And really, thinking about how we come up with the most beneficial, curated, holistic offer in the healthcare space for each of our customers feels like something you guys could really help us achieve. And
then we finished off with The Room.
So yeah, Steve, thank you for talking about The Room. I have a lot of passion for influencer marketing because I feel like in the space I work in right now, we don't do enough of it. We don't use influencers enough to really co-create with. The reason I asked you the question about men is because I'm really interested in how we reach a male audience, since our own channels are so female focused. So I think that's a place, it sounds like you guys have some connections in the sports community and also, have an authentic population of male influencers. So that could really help us. And helping us find the people who are really who already love our brand, want to be advocates for what we bring to them now and what we can bring to them in the future, and really authentically bringing that to their community, user audience is great. So I really appreciated hearing about The Room. I think you guys did a really great job of presenting that to us as well.
Very cool. But of course, Marni, you can work with all of these guys, but there can only be one winner for the stage today. So the winner of the 20K paid pilot is?
Tough decision. We are going to go with The Room.
Hey! Come on.
Congratulations, Steve.
Yeah, congratulations. Got the photo moment here. All right. There we go. Congratulations, Steve. Well done to all 6 startups. And Marni, thank you so much as well for...
I've done this twice, Jeremy. I'm not sure I'm doing it again, but it's super fun. So if you ask me, I might...
What a dragon, huh? Next to be on BBC, I'm sure. Thank you so much, Marni.